Let's see what's in the bag. First of all, I will say I asked them for soy sauce, just to be specific. English was okay in there. Good thing I checked the bag because I was about to walk away and I said, I should check and see what's in here. And they didn't pack my soy sauce. So if I got back and I didn't have soy sauce, oh my God, I would have been so pissed. I would have had to have gone to a grocery store and gotten soy sauce because there's no chance I'm eating sushi without it. Basically, I told myself there is no chance that I am putting myself in a position where I get back with sushi, I eat, and then I'm still hungry. And then I have to go back out and get something else. So I said, I would rather over-launch on this order and have some for tomorrow. So you can see this is container number 1. This is container number 2. I don't think I'm gonna finish all this. Also, you might be wondering, Cody, why are you getting sushi in Norway? When I was in Copenhagen 6 years ago, I went for sushi with my friend Toby in Copenhagen, and at the time, now mind you, this is before I went to Japan, it was excellent. I told people that sushi that I had in Copenhagen was actually some of the best sushi that I'd had again at that point in my life. We're close to Denmark, so it's probably not gonna be bad. I always tell people going to Japan, because I am self-admittedly a sushi snob now, and now I just compare everything to when I was in Japan. I said I wasn't gonna have any of the seaweed salad, but what the hell? Seaweed salad's actually good. I wasn't even gonna touch it, to be entirely honest with you. In Japan, they don't do the fancy, I guess what we would call maybe like chef rolls or specialty rolls in North America. They do rolls that are a little more basic looking on the inside like this. That's a really good first bite. That was a great piece. I basically never order sushi if there's cream cheese in it. I mean, they gave me some pieces, so I'm obviously gonna eat them. I'm not gonna throw them out. Let's dig into some of the nigiri. The rice is nice and soft. The fish is pretty fresh. I'm satisfied so far. I'm not that much of a fan generally of shrimp nigiri. I always like to save the better pieces for last. All of this sushi cost me 389 NOK. At first glance, when you're in countries like Norway or Denmark that are known to be more expensive, like Scandinavian countries are all known to be more expensive. I think they have higher taxes, but they also pay higher livable wages than we do in North America for these places, which is why all the costs go up. But you have to remember, when I say it's just under 55, like when you go to pay anywhere, the price includes tax and tip. To be honest, I think it's hard to get this much sushi in Toronto before tax for in the low $40 range. In Norway, you don't tip. You basically don't tip, especially for takeout. You don't tip. I just have a horrible habit of spilling shit on my clothes when I eat. My grandpa John did that all the time. I was actually thinking about Grandpa earlier when I was in the Resistance Museum and the Armed Forces Museum, because my grandpa and I talked about World War II all the time. I had never got as much into World War I. I know that my great-grandfather, so my grandpa's dad, he fought in World War I because my grandpa told me all the time how my great-grandfather got mustard gassed. Thank goodness it wasn't worse than that, because let's face it, if it was, I wouldn't be doing this vlog right now. I'm being thankful, I guess, that my great-grandfather was only mustard gassed and not worse. But World War II history is fascinating to me. I never get enough of it. Any new documentary that I see get released about it on Netflix, I watch it. I think that what I find most fascinating about World War II, although I think about it, I guess, through a modern lens, because that's what my perspective is, but it just baffles me how we as a society let Hitler build up so much power. And when a lot of people that maybe don't follow history as much as I do don't understand, is for the most part, the world didn't know about the concentration camps until the Allied forces started closing in on Germany. If you think about political figures with pedigree, such as, let's say, the Bush family, senior president, junior president, for example. When Junior becomes president, it's like, oh, okay, his dad was president, kind of makes sense. There are people who are wealthy that come to power. What baffles me is it's like Hitler came from nothing, and somehow he was able to captivate an entire nation of people with a lot of dirty tricks and doing a lot of horrible things. But he was able to grab all that power coming from nothing. And I think I just constantly ask myself, how the hell did that happen? How the hell did that many people buy into such evil rhetoric? Thinking about how scary it was that life could be very different if the war turned out a different way. The first time I went to Europe was December of 2007/January 2008 with my hockey team. We did a rep trip. I mean, we went to Munich and we went to Dachau. So I went to a concentration camp and I saw what that was like. And then I went to Hiroshima, many years later. I think that everyone at some point should go to a concentration camp, and either Hiroshima or Nagasaki. I didn't get to Nagasaki, but the point is, I think that we as a society need to know truly what humanity is capable of. We need to know what the warning signs of evil are. The only reason really why the United States was able to get the nuke before the Germans was because they captured German scientists that were working on the German atom bomb project. It truly was a race to see who could develop the first nuke. Because if the Germans did, they would have used it. Where they would have used it, who knows? I mean, my top two guesses, depending on what obviously would have been going on, I know I'm getting to hypotheticals here, but it would have been probably either London or New York City. But if you think about it, you know, the development of the German V2 rocket, German development of the atom bomb, I think that what a lot of people don't put the pieces of the puzzle together with is how the Americans used Nazi technology to then develop the Saturn V rocket. Nazi research into the atom bomb led to the Americans being the first to actually develop it. And one of the things that sticks out to me, for example, in Oppenheimer, as in the movie, was how when they were testing it in the Manhattan Project, there was a greater than 0% chance, which mind you, still very thin, that testing an atomic bomb could have set off a chain reaction that would have essentially blown up the Earth's atmosphere. When they first tested that bomb, and I think that Christopher Nolan, genius, in that movie depicts the whole scene so well. Just imagine being there at that test site when that was happening. They had no bloody clue what was gonna happen when they set that off. It's pretty crazy. I can't imagine how nervous I would have been if I was there, because you're kind of thinking to yourself, what's gonna happen here? Am I gonna be living in 30 seconds from now? I remember when I was in Paris going to one of the museums there, I think it was their equivalent of their military museum or whatever they call it. I mean, I've seen the videos so many times of Hitler just looking at the Eiffel Tower when they took over Paris. And it's just crazy to me, just like an iconic monument under Nazi control. And then being in London, being in some of those tube stations, they're so hot. So people will go down there and hide from the Blitz for days. I remember thinking to myself, just how the hell did those people manage doing that? It's just crazy. I would love to go to the Normandy beaches like that. I am definitely doing that at some point. I could just do a European World War II trip. I want to go to Poland and see Auschwitz. Also, Poland just looks like a beautiful country. I want to do more in Belgium, but between World War I and World War II. I've heard that Bruges is a beautiful town. Luxembourg, I think it was the last Netflix doc on World War II. I forget the name of the town, but there's this town that the Allies were fighting over, and I believe they lost the battle. They were hiding out in this old castle, and the Germans just bombed it to shit to draw the Allies out. The documentary showed whatever that town is that looks like now, and it just looks like a beautiful town. So I want to go check out these off the beaten path parts of Europe where some of these battles happened. There's just something about seeing it with your own eyes. Fury, how good is that movie? That is one of my favorite. I never get sick of watching the movie Fury. It just would have been terrifying being in one of those tanks. I would want to go to the Dolomites in Italy because there were some crazy battles that happened there. And now, I mean, the scenery is just so gorgeous. I think that would be awesome to check out. Another random thing that a lot of people don't realize how close the Germans came to Moscow. I remember there were stories that they could see the reflection off the gold top or whatever of the Kremlin or whatever it is. I'm close if I'm not entirely accurate. But the point is they could see, the Germans got so close to Moscow, they could see the city visibly. Of course, the story goes, you know, wintertime, a lot of them froze to death. Food shortages, oil shortages. I mean, Hitler was on so many drugs at that time. He was not thinking straight. That's why a lot of his leadership started to turn on him. Part of the reason why the Blitz was so effective is because the Nazis were high on meth. That's why they could fight for like 1 or 1.5 or 2 days straight. They were drugging them up on meth. And apparently meth causes you to lose empathy. It was not a level playing field. I mean, the Blitz lasted, I think it was like something like 16 days, the first one. Like the main Blitz. I mean, Hitler himself, I mean, I don't know how many different drugs he was on. You can just see him in that video I've seen from the Olympics when they were in Berlin, and he's twitching like crazy. So that's my last piece of sushi. So I finished the whole thing. I just wanted to try something different. If you found this video interesting, I would love for you to put a comment. I'm very curious to see how I'm able to connect with other people, because what I've realized most of the time when I'm thinking something, there is someone else out there that is thinking the exact same thing. If you watched any of this, if somehow you watched all of this, because I don't know how long this video is gonna run, wow, thank you. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe below, hit like, put a comment, and I hope to catch you in the next video.